So, very good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Shiva.
Uh, so today we have with us is Dipti, ma'am. So she is a principal of Clerk School for the deaf people. So she joined the school in 1975 and worked in the section for children with hearing impatience till 1999. She got an international rotatory ambassadorial scholarship also stayed to study in Perkins School. It's in Massachusetts, which is in, I guess, in United States. So since 2000 till now, actually, she is working for children and young adults with deaf, blindness, and multiple disorders. Ma'am, it's pleasure to gone through your data. So it's a pleasure to have you with us, ma'am. We are honored actually. So, ma'am,
Thank you, Shiva.
uh, I will ask you some questions, ma'am. So you can answer it in your own way, like whatever way you feel better.
Okay.
There are some questions, ma'am. That's it. It's like around 10 questions. Are you ready for that, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
So, ma'am, tell me something about yourself, ma'am.
See,
Which? Okay, ma'am. Yeah, please go ahead.
uh, I completed my graduation in psychology, and
Oh,
then I joined uh, MA Social Sciences in the Madras University. After I
wow.
completed my post graduation, I was doing my German in Max Muller Bhavan. I met a lady whose sister was working in Clark School for the Deaf. I was interested in working in a school for deaf children because I have a nephew who is deaf, who is hearing impaired. So I joined the school in November 1975, and then after working there for a few years, I became the principal of the school. And then in 1999, I got an ambassadorial scholarship to go and study in the US in the Perkins School for the Blind. That is the school where Anne Sullivan, the teacher of Helen Keller, studied. So
Oh,
it was an Rotary scholarship from the Netherlands, not from India. It was from the Netherlands that they gave me the scholarship, and I went and studied for deaf blindness in Perkins School for the Blind. I came back to my school in 2000 June, and since then I have been working with the children with and young adults with deaf blindness and multiple disabilities. I was also in charge of the teacher training program since 2002 till 2018. We had a teacher training program in deaf blindness recognized by the Rehabilitation Council of India, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Till 2018, we had the course, but now we don't have that course anymore in the school. Uh, and I work directly with children, with young adults with deaf blindness. I have five children like that. Two are totally deaf blind, and so with them I use the tactile method, braille, and in my career since 2000 till date, I have sent about four children with deaf blindness, low vision, and deafness for the NIOS 10th standard public exam, and all of them have cleared the exam.
ma'am, that's great. Actually, good to hear that. Actually. So we'll go to the next question, ma'am. So how you help means how would you help the advantages and disadvantages again in equal opportunities?
I think children or people with who are advantaged, that is, who are non-disabled, and who are disadvantaged, like the disabled, can come together in many platforms. Especially in society, there are people who are disadvantaged economically. They are disadvantaged with so many of the due to so many other reasons, not only disabilities, but it's we people who should bring them together in the society, and the non-disabled persons, the advantaged persons should recognize the qualities, should recognize the talents of the children and young adults, or even older adults with disabilities or who are disadvantaged in economically or in any other way.
Ma'am, I just want to ask you next question, but how you handle the means the disadvantaged people with respect to the education? What is your philosophy?
Do you mean with disadvantage? Do you mean the disabled or
Disabled, ma'am, disabled people,
disabled? Okay.
because some will have some issues. We can't know. We can't know. So, how you justify that?
Uh, See, everybody has the right to education in our country or in the world. Everybody has a right to education. Whatever in whatever way they can receive education, we have to give them. There are many children who are hidden in their homes because of the stigma attached to disability. Parents are feeling shy to bring them out or to give them any education. So, we people and youngsters like you have to work towards getting these children out of their homes, providing them education. Some children come to uh, come to centers when they are 11 and 12 years old. When the early age is gone, it is more difficult to teach them, but we can teach them pre-vocational skills if they are older children. But everybody has to be educated in some way or the other. Education is very important for everybody, whether they are able-bodied or disabled.
Exactly, ma'am. I agree. So, ma'am, what are your thoughts about on a recent education issues?
See, recently, due to the COVID pandemic, since 2020 March, most of the education, most of the learning, most of the teaching has been online.
Hmm.
Again, it's a disadvantage for children with disabilities and also children from lower economic strata who do not have laptops, who do not have good phones, who do not, and even the teachers. For us, we also had to learn a lot of things in this pandemic. In 2020, when we were asked to take classes on Zoom, it was a real learning for us also because we had not used Zoom for teaching. And Zoom
Yes.
became very popular in 2020. After 2020 March, everything went virtual, everything went online. Even our courses became online, and we had to deal with students who are doing the training, able bodied students who are doing the training through the Zoom or through Google Meet and things like that. So imagine if the child is multiply disabled, or if the child is mentally retarded, or if the even the hearing impaired, it is so difficult for them to be taught via Zoom. Physical classes
Yes.
have almost come to a standstill again. Now we are expecting a third wave. And
Yes.
again, in certain places like Delhi and Mumbai, again schools and colleges are closed. So again, it means using the Zoom or the Google Meet platforms. Again, it is going to be virtual learning for the children,
Learning.
which is very, very difficult.
Ma'am, what do you prefer, ma'am? Online or offline teaching?
I prefer offline teaching because, see, as a teacher, we need to interact with our students on a one-on-one basis. Uh, Working on a virtual platform online, we do not know how much the children are able to understand.
Exactly,
This
ma'am.
is not a complaint. This is not only a complaint from children with disabilities, but even normal hearing sighted children whom I have spoken to. They are saying so many concepts we are not able to understand when it is online. So, for me, offline physical classes are much better, but we have to wait for the pandemic to go
And
away. I don't know when it will go away, whether it will really go away or not, but till then we have to manage with online, but I would prefer offline.
ma'am, being a principal, so how do you empower teachers to be leaders?
See, I'm a principal, but I always move along with my colleagues. I do not. I'm always very open to them. I tell them in a nice way, this is how you have to do it. I don't force them to do something. If they don't know, I tell them, okay, why not we do it this way? Instead of telling them, do this, do that, always tell them, let's do it this way. Why don't we do it this way? I don't say, why don't you do it this way? I always say, let us do it, let us do it, let we will do it together. So then they get a confidence of uh, working better with the children.
Ma'am, next question actually. Describe a situation that you handled recently that required sensitive act, means like great sensitivity and a tact.
uh, See, I have a student who is totally deaf and totally blind. He's now 25 years old, and he has finished his 10th standard when the classes were offline. Now, being deaf blind, he has no access to Zoom or Google Meet because he can't see. But he got a new device. It's called the Orbit Reader. Uh,
Orbit
Now,
reader.
we had one interpreter who used to go to his house. He taught him to use the Orbit Reader, and with the Orbit Reader, that interpreter connected it with his Android phone, and now he is able to communicate with me via WhatsApp. So
Okay.
if he types a message on his Orbit Reader in Braille, I get the message in print in my WhatsApp. I reply him in print in WhatsApp. He reads it in Braille. So I am able to break down his boredom. See, he wants to communicate. When he was coming to school, or when there was no pandemic, we were able to do tactile sign language. That is, for a deafblind, you touch the person and speak. But with the COVID restrictions, social distancing, not allowing, I mean, not allowing children to touch,
We can't
and
get in touch.
yeah, you can't touch and communicate. And being at home all the time from March 20th, March 15th, actually, 2020 till date, he's at home. And he got really bored of being alone at home. Although he is communicating only with his sister and his parents, he wants to communicate with the outside world. So this Orbit Reader has helped him, and now he's able to contact me. And many situations I'm able to uh, work with him very tactfully. Like if he has a problem at home, which his parents may not be able to solve, he sends me a message, like he wants to know when the school will reopen. So I have to tell him the school will not reopen now, the pandemic is increasing. So like that, I have to handle some situations very carefully with him, and that has helped through the Orbit Reader as his new device.
Ma'am, can I know that whose idea was that to give him an orbit reader?
No, actually, he is in touch with some adult deafblind people. There is an organization which is run by a deafblind person. I think that person came to Chennai. He got in touch with this boy, and he donated one Orbit Reader to him.
Okay.
Orbit Reader is quite an expensive device.
Mm.
So now he got that Orbit Reader, and his interpreter, who used to help him to interpret sign language, helped him to start using the Orbit Reader and connecting it to the Android phone.
So moving on to the next question, ma'am. How will you support a safe and effective school-wide learning environment?
Sorry, can you say that again?
How will you support a safe and effective school-wide learning environment?
First of all, the school has to ensure that it is safe for anybody, even if it's a child without disabilities or a child with disabilities. The school environment has to be very, very safe in all ways, physically, emotionally, and also nowadays you hear about a lot of harassment sexual
Yes.
harassment, and
Yes.
things like that. And our children with and young people with disabilities, not only young, all of everybody with disabilities is a vulnerable group. They can be easily, uh, you know, attacked, or easily they could be misled by people who are very powerful politically, or even otherwise very powerful people. You read every day in newspapers
Yes, ma'am.
how people are manhandling children, how people are um, abusing children physically, emotionally. And so we have to create an environment in the school where we prepare the children also to be safe. Like when we talk about deaf, blind, or hearing impaired children, we have to tell them about good touch and bad touch in the way that they can understand, and also give them some self defense techniques, so that if at any time they are in a danger of being attacked or abused, they can save themselves from that danger. And also we have to teach them to communicate if there is something happening, something wrong happening to them, or someone is causing them some harm. They have to come and tell the right person, like the parents or the teachers, or close relatives. But we also have to instruct the teachers and parents to understand that when a child comes and complains, to make note of the complaint and take action. Many times, if a child is being abused by somebody, abused by a relative, and he or she goes and complains to the parent will say, no, no, he, I don't think that they are doing like that. No, don't complain unnecessarily. But that is not the attitude. The attitude is listen, communicate with your child, be close to your child, and communicate with the child, or with the young adult, or with any disabled person or non-disabled person. When they are coming and telling you something, please listen to them, because they might be needing your help, may not be able to handle it alone.
Exactly, ma'am. Ma'am, from your point of view, what should be the relation between a student and a principal, like a principal or a teacher?
See, the relationship between a principal and a teacher, and a principal and a student, of course, the principal has a lot of authority. But at the same time, the principal has to be sensitive to the needs of the teachers, to the needs of the children. The principal cannot be the boss. The principal has to be a leader and live by example, lead by example. See, if I want my teachers to come on time, I will go to school earlier, so that I set an example. If I want my students to come to school on time, if I want my students to be truthful, I will be truthful. I will reach the school much before they come, so that I live by example. I show them that what I what I expect them to do is what I am doing myself. I can't ask a child to come at school time 9:15, and I go there as a principal at 11 o'clock. That's not the done thing. I will go there by 8:45, so that I'm ready to receive my teachers and my students.
Ma'am, any memory which you remembered in your teaching career, can you please share with us?
Pleasant memory, pleasant memory, what memory?
Ma'am, you can share both also. We are happy to hear
Uh,
that.
I have a lot of pleasant memories. See, the most pleasant memory is like when I first joined the school. I had a student from Zambia. He was an African boy whose uncle was the consul general of Zambia, and he was in Delhi. And this boy was brought from Zambia and admitted in our school in Chennai, in the boarding in the school. This boy he was about 10 years, I think, when he came. He had no schooling at all till then. But when I started working with him, I joined in November, and he also joined in November of 1975. But by I think February of 1986, I noticed that he had learned quite a lot of English vocabulary, and he was able to express his need by writing a few words, of course not a sentence. Like if he wanted, he one day he wanted, uh, he was hungry and he wanted to eat. So he was able to tell me by gestures that he wants to eat, but I told him you have to write. So he wrote, I biscuit want. Instead of saying I want biscuit, he said I biscuit want. That was a breakthrough for him in his life. He had never learned the words like that, but within 2 months, being an intelligent boy, he learned a lot of vocabulary. By I think February, he learned about 100 words like food and uh, things like how to ask for things and all that. Of course, unpleasant. I don't have many unpleasant memories at all. All my memories have been very pleasant. But this was the beginning of my career. And another pleasant memory is um, when I joined the deafblind section in 2000. My first student uh, was a little girl of 4 years. She's low vision with hearing impairment, and we were teaching her the American finger spelling alphabet. Her name starts with F, and for hearing impaired children, for deaf-blind children, we usually have a name sign and we have an object of reference. Now, my name is Dipti. This is D, D in American finger spelling, and this D I keep here because I have big cheeks. I keep here D. So we wanted to tell her that she also needs to have a name sign. She liked butterflies a lot, and we tried to tell her we want to give you a name sign, and we tried to explain, and we suddenly she did like this is F, her name starts with F. She did like
Okay,
this and she showed butterfly. So from then onwards,
okay.
her sign name is F. That was another very pleasant memory. That was in the beginning of my career in teaching deaf blind children. I had just returned from the training at Perkins, and this was my first experience, very pleasant experience, of course.
Thank you so much for sharing, ma'am. Actually, it was good to hear that. So, ma'am, as a principal, uh, you can tell me one thing, ma'am. You could or can change about the educational society.
See, lots of, especially in the state board schools, I don't know about other states, but in our state, a lot of um, things have to be remembered, memorized, especially in the state board. Memorizing and reproducing answers is appreciated. But I think children have to be guided to write on their own, and teachers have to accept when the children are clear in their concepts and using their own language to express themselves. I think that is important. And also, not to label children as being dull, uh, and a slow learner. All these words are not used any longer. See, everybody has their own way of learning. We all have our own learning styles. One child will sit in a place and learn. One child will use a headphone, listen to music, and study for the exam. One child will walk about and learn. So all the you as teachers, everybody has to accept the learning style of a child, of a particular child,
Different
and
child has a different learning
learning style. And
tactic, like
yeah.
style.
And we can't label children as being dull and foolish and oh, you're a good for nothing child. See your brother, he is doing so well. So even comparison should not be done.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. So, ma'am, that's all for these questions. If you want, we can ask you general questions which is
Sure,
not
sure,
related to education, ma'am.
sure, sure.
So, ma'am, please tell me what is your favorite dish? It can be anything, ma'am. So you can share with us.
My favorite dish, earlier it used to be biryani, but not anymore. My favorite dish and my comfort food is curd rice, tair sadam with pickle. That is my comfort food. I can eat it 365 days in a year, and even all three meals, because I feel very nice eating it. I avoid spicy food nowadays. Actually, today I have turned 69 years old. Today is my birthday.
Oh, wish you many, many happy returns of the day, ma'am.
So at my age, I have to stop eating a lot of spice and sugar and sweet.
So, ma'am, it's just a general question. So, when you were a child, so are you a naughty student or like a disciplined student?
No, I was naughty, not very. I was an average student in studies. I was nothing great. But one thing I like to say, I have a love for languages. So I used to like Hindi a lot, and I mastered it a lot. Then, when I was in Pune studying in the boarding, my principal took the initiative of uh, teaching me Persian. So, of course, now I don't remember much. And then I joined German class. So, I was not academically, I was not bad, but I was not like getting 100% in everything. I was average. I was normal. I was not, can't say I was naughty, but yeah, I was not quiet also. I was okay. I never troubled my teachers or my parents.
So, ma'am, one last question.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite destination spot? Like everyone
Destination spot.
have, yes, ma'am. Like everyone have like we want to go here at some time.
I would like to visit uh, Sikkim. I don't know why, but I like to visit Sikkim and the Northeast. Actually, I'm very keen to visit the Northeast because I have had students from the Northeast who are very nice and very cordial, and I have friends in the Northeast, so I want to visit the Northeast. Of course, I haven't visited too many places in India, but of late, I think that is my favorite destination.
Ma'am, even I like Northeast place. It's my dream to visit actually. In India, it's my dream to visit Northeast because everyone said actually when I was in Delhi, people used to say that do visit Northeast because people over there will treat you like you will enjoy actually. You will enjoy their uh, means how they welcome you. It's like of course you're gonna definitely gonna like it. People used to say that. So that's all, ma'am. It was pleasure to interview you. Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much, Shiva.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
for the
ma'am.
opportunity, and I should thank Sumitra ma'am for
Yes.
recommending me. Thank you
No,
so
ma'am.
much.
Actually, it's like pleasure because people like you, we are interviewing you, so we will get to learn something from you, actually, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah, that's thing. That's a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot.